Hello, my name is Laura Latman and I am from Five Stones Institute, and today I'm going to show you how to make a heart-healthy dinner with simple ingredients. So we're going to be making a heart-healthy chickpea salad with baked sweet potatoes on the side. So Five Stones Institute is a nonprofit organization where we educate in the care of mind, body, and spirit. And healthy eating is a really big part of taking care of our mind, body, and spirit. And this menu that we are making right now, it was inspired by people asking a lot of questions about high blood pressure. So this is a meal that would be really good for somebody that does have high blood pressure. I'm going to give you some tips on how to cook if you do have high blood pressure, how to leave out the salt, what to do instead. So we're gonna get right into it, and then I'll explain some things afterwards, but this stuff needs to bake. So we're just gonna get right into making the food. So here we're gonna get started with the sweet potatoes first and baking sweet potato fries. So I've already cut up the sweet potatoes here. And what I did was I just took a sweet potato, I cut it in half lengthwise, and then I started cutting all of them to about 1/4 inch thick. The thinner they are, the faster they're gonna cook. The thicker they are, the longer it's gonna take to cook. So what we're gonna do is we're gonna start off with just a little drizzle of olive oil on them. And then we're gonna take our spices. So I have mixed together, we have onion powder, garlic powder, smoked paprika, and a little tiny bit of chili powder, right? Yeah, a little bit of chili powder and a little bit of pepper. So I'm gonna sprinkle that all on top of here. And you can use any kind of a bowl that you have at home to just mix it up. Make sure that you coat those sweet potatoes with the olive oil and with the yummy spices so you get them on both sides. And if you don't like any of those spices that are in the recipe or that I just said, you could always substitute out with other spices, other flavor profiles that maybe you like better, or just something that you might actually have on hand if some of these spices are something that you don't normally have. This recipe is very forgiving, and I mean, sweet potato fries will taste good even if it's just salt and olive oil. You don't even have to go into putting all the spices on it. So we're gonna take that, we're gonna put it in an oven that I have preheated to 425 degrees. Slide it in there. And then about halfway through cooking, we are going to flip them over so that they bake a little bit more evenly on both sides. And then we're going to do the chickpeas. So the chickpeas here are going to be the protein on top of the salad, on top of this salad particularly. So what we've done is we've taken just your regular can of chickpeas, drained it, rinsed it off really good. So there are definitely cans of chickpeas out there that don't have any salt added. If you do happen to get one with salt added, just rinse it really well, and you're gonna rinse off almost all of the salt. So just make sure that you got that. So we're gonna take our chickpeas. We're gonna do the same thing with the chickpeas, essentially, that we just did with the sweet potatoes. So we're going to do just a little tablespoon of olive oil on the chickpeas. It's really just, and you could even do less olive oil, it's really just enough to get them wet so that all the spices stick to them. So we'll switch those around, and then I have already mixed up the spices here. So it's very similar to the sweet potatoes. It has garlic powder, it has paprika. This one also has oregano in it and some pepper. So I'm gonna go ahead and sprinkle that on the chickpeas. And this offers a lot of flavor to the chickpeas, because if you've had chickpeas before, right out of the can, you know right out of the can, there's not a whole lot of flavor going on. So this will make them a lot more interesting to people, especially if you're really used to eating more meat than more beans. So this is a great way to spice them up and make them taste really good. And right out of the can, you can eat chickpeas right out of the can, but if you bake them this way, then they get nice and crispy on the outside, and they're still nice and soft on the inside. And that just increases the, just makes the texture a little bit better, especially for people that are more used to having a lot more meat in their diet. All right, so we're gonna go ahead, and again, you want these in a single layer, so I just shake the pan until they're all in a single layer. And lucky for us, because we're using one oven, and you probably would be at home too, then they also go in an oven that's 425 degrees for about 5 minutes less than the sweet potatoes. And about halfway through cooking, we're going to shake those up, just mix them around a little bit and make sure that they're cooking evenly as well. So that's going to be the protein on top of the salad, and I wanted to use the chickpeas to showcase because they're really high in fiber, low in sodium, low in saturated fat, which are really great points for heart health. So when you're thinking about foods to make that are going to help with blood pressure or even maybe cholesterol, if you have that going on, things that are related to heart health, the more fiber in your diet, the better it's going to be. So the chickpeas are a really awesome way, and you can use any other bean. So if you don't have a can of chickpeas at home, if you have lentils or black beans, anything else, you could use those as well, and that could be the protein on top of the salad. And you can make them with different spice profiles, like I had said before, and just make them match your palate and whatever you want it to be. And then you'll notice that the spices that I put on top of both of these did not contain salt. So in the handout, it mentions that if you do have high blood pressure, you want to limit your sodium intake to 2,400 milligrams per day. Now it's really easy if you're eating foods that come with a label on them, they list how many grams of sodium are in the product. And so you can really budget and plan based on how much each product that you're eating has. And it's really, really great when you're cooking your own food and you're making food more from scratch. Then you can use all of these different spices and herbs instead of salt. And so you're not gonna miss the flavor because you're gonna have so much flavor from the spices and the herbs, and you're not even gonna need that salt, and then you're not going to be intaking more sodium than you should, and so that's gonna help out with your blood pressure. So while those are baking, I'm gonna go ahead and show you a super simple salad dressing to make at home. So there are so many commercial salad dressings out there, some of them healthier than others. If it's olive oil based, it's gonna be better. Some of them have more sugar and more salt in them. So again, just looking at the label and looking for ones that have a lower amount of sodium and a lower amount of sugar. But if you have three simple ingredients at home, you can make a super simple salad dressing. So I'll show you how to do that. And I'm just gonna make it in this little cup here. So the parts that we want, we're gonna just use olive oil. We're gonna do vinegar, and here I have a balsamic vinegar. And then we're gonna do mustard, and here I have Dijon mustard. So any combination of like olive oil, any kind of vinegar that you have, if you just have plain yellow mustard, if you really like it spicy, you could use a spicy mustard, whatever you want. This is really all you need to make your own salad dressing at home. So you want 3 parts olive oil to 1 part vinegar. So we're gonna measure that out here. And because it's just me on camera and I'm not making it for a bunch of other people, I'm gonna lower this down and just make it 3 tablespoons of olive oil, 1 tablespoon of our balsamic vinegar. Great, and I'm sure that you've heard that olive oil has good heart healthy benefits. It's got no saturated fat in it. It's monounsaturated fats. And it's, of course, a staple of the Mediterranean diet, which is what most people are recommended to eat if you do have high blood pressure. So we'll just do 1 tablespoon here of our olive oil, or sorry, balsamic vinegar, 1 tablespoon of that balsamic vinegar, which is not coming out for me because we're at the end. All right, there we go. So you will notice, you probably already knew this was gonna happen. The vinegar sunk to the bottom. Yeah, that's what the mustard is for. So mustard is an emulsifier, which means when you add the mustard to this and mix it up, then it's going to keep it mixed up while you are going to use it. And you don't need much. So it's like, so you have 3 tablespoons olive oil, 1 tablespoon balsamic vinegar. You would do half of a teaspoon of mustard. We'll just put that in there. We'll take one of these little spoons here and mix it up. If you're at home and you have any kind of a jar with a tight fitting lid, then you can put it in there and just shake it. And that will work too. So as we mix this up with the mustard in it, it's already smelling really good with that balsamic vinegar. I love balsamic vinegar on my salads. All right. So there we go. We mixed it up. Now you'll see it's all mixed. So the olive oil and the vinegar stay mixed together because of that mustard. And this, no added salt, no sodium, no added sugar, super simple to make at home. Now you can add anything to this that you want. You could add garlic powder, and that's in the recipe that you have. You can add thyme, cilantro, basil, chili powder if you want it to be spicy. You can add whatever you want into this, any spices, and change up that flavor. But this is just your really super basic salad dressing that we're gonna put on the salad when everything's done. All right, so we're halfway through cooking. So I'm gonna take my sweet potatoes here. I'm just gonna flip them over. You can use anything. If you don't have tongs at home, you can use a fork. Just anything to flip them over. And flipping them over is going to help them to get nice and crispy. If you don't flip them over, one side will generally be a little bit soggy. So nobody likes soggy fries, right? All right, so I'm going to put that back in. Take out the chickpeas. I'm just gonna use this to mix the chickpeas around, make sure nothing's sticking. There we go. And then again, make sure everything's, that it's on one single level, that they're not overlapping each other. And then we'll throw them back in for the second half of their cooking. All right, so I pulled out those chickpeas. They are all done, and now I'm gonna pull out the sweet potatoes. All right, and we can turn this off. There you go, stop that beeping for you. So now I have, oh, see, one of the smaller sweet potatoes got a little bit crispy, but these look really good. There you go, there's a sweet potato fry. And these are delicious. See, a little crispy one. So what we're gonna do here is we're gonna put it all together. So we've got, you can have lettuce, spinach, kale, I have cabbage here, whatever green you wanna make as the base of your salad. So we're gonna have that here. And then we are going to put a little bit of our dressing on it. And if you're having a full-size salad, then the amount of salad dressing that you should be using is around 2 tablespoons, maybe a little bit less depending on how much you like your greens and how you can deal with it. But 2 tablespoons is 1 serving of salad dressing. So that's good to go. So we'll get the greens all dressed up, and then we'll go ahead and top with our yummy, yummy chickpeas here that are all seasoned, that it's gonna give this salad a lot of good flavor. And it also gives the salad a lot of really good color. I just love the way that the roasted chickpeas look in there. And then these sweet potato fries, you can either have it on a separate plate or just put it right there on the side of your salad. And the sweet potato, so having this, this starch as part of the meal will really help it feel more filling to you. But sweet potatoes have a lot more nutrients in them than white potatoes. They're really good for the heart and much healthier way to make your fries. This way with no salt. So there we have it. That would be your meal. And you could throw a ton of other vegetables in it if you have other vegetables at home, and just make sure that whatever you're cooking with, whatever you're using, you look at the ingredients and you just make sure that it doesn't have a lot of sodium in it, or maybe no sodium added. And in the case of the beans, like I mentioned before, it will list that there's sodium on the can, but if you really rinse them off really well, then you're gonna get rid of most of that sodium, so you don't have to worry so much about that. So yeah, there you go. There's your super heart healthy chickpea salad with sweet potato fries on the side. Enjoy!